Can you hear me now?
We can.
Perfect. Sorry, I was struggling with the client, which is a first to me. It's usually had been working and I've tested Zoom, but struggling to add camera and the sound basically. But I'm able. I think I should be able to share the screen.
Okay, great. Yeah, go ahead and give that a try. You should have those permissions.
Perfect. There we go. Okay, this is in present mode. And you should see this now.
So Carl, unfortunately, we're not seeing any slides. I do have your deck up if you'd like me to share. Oh, nope. Looks like we are seeing, yep, there you go. We can see your slides.
Let me just put this to full screen. All right. So, yeah, thank you for the patience. I'm going to make this quick, but I will not, not try to rush this. Thank you for the invitation, first of all, to the MDC subgroup for the OCP Tech Week, and I'd like to give an update on the OCP Ready certification for modular data centers. So, Michael, anything else to share at the beginning, to add?
Nope, please go ahead.
Perfect. So, thank you so much. My name is Carl. I am a project lead for colocation.green. I'm with North Tech, and we develop a very interesting modular data center concept. Why am I the one talking to you for modular data center certifications? You see 3 logos up there. I have been building data centers prior to this, and you see a specific electric infrastructure site, which is a switch yard within a wind farm, that already on the right side here you see foundations, which are basically perfect for modular data centers. Prior to this, I founded WindCloud and WindCloud 4.0, but we are now with colocation.green for the first time. We are able to actually use the wind energy you see here in the picture central, with the central turbine, to be able to use that directly for a data center project with two benefits. One benefit is that is obviously a lot less CO2 emitted, and the other one is by using wind energy directly, we create the cheapest energy cost within Germany. We are focusing further on why we want to get modular data centers OCP ready, how we go about this certification, and what is the main difference in terms of the modular data center certification compared to the existing OCP Ready certification. We came to this because we believe that our infrastructure would also largely benefit from Open Compute project and the foundation, and we wanted to become a colo solution provider. In the regards to become that, you need to be OCP Ready certified. And I was talking to Mark Dancy, and we identified some, gaps in the OCP Ready certification. So he explained to me that to get a modular data center OCP ready, I believe it had to be within a building. It was not being able to have an OCP equipment. You can put it in a module, but only if it's within a building can be OCP Ready certified. The OCP Ready certification itself is basically looking looking into an OCP rack, the latest OCP rack specification, and how this moves through the data center. It looks into how it's get into the data center. Is there loading? Are there RAMs? How is electricity brought to the OCP rack? How is the cooling specification? How much can the floor actually hold? And a lot of other external or internal, basically specifically internal factors within a data center, and how to and it is mainly focusing on factors within the data center. But as mentioned, it's not looking, it's not covering freestanding modular data centers. So the question is, since we have, if you remember, is we have the foundations close to the wind farm, we have the need to build modular data centers, and we want to get that OCP ready. So how can we, this is an example from one of the designs that Swedish modules put forward. And you see a nice modular data centers with ramps, for example, for humans, and also ramping here to move complete racks into that facility. And basically, we have the same challenge, and other modular manufacturers and modular operators will benefit from this feature. There are two existing specifications, not for the certification itself, but for open modular designs. One is on the top left is the 90 kilowatt specification, and on the bottom right is the 300 kilowatt specification brought forward by Swedish modules. The one up top is the specification was brought forward by Schneider Electric and has a completed design from PCX. The things we want to look into for this OCP Ready specification, you already see here quite nicely lined up for both of those modules, because only looking within the data center has some shortcomings. If you look in the close surrounding of the modular data centers, you see backup generators, you see cooling equipment, you see transformers, and much more is needed to get a site ready for a modular data center. So we want to specifically look on those additional requirements to have a module up and running, to have a complete functional data center setting, and the overall parts are shown quite completely here: cooling gensets, the primary power supply, and the module itself. So to look, we called it at this point OCP Ready Edge certification, because I personally believe that there are a lot of use cases for telcos, for 5G, for industrial sites, for industrial IoT production sites that are in need of OCP equipment and in need of OCP data centers, to get those also ready for OCP certification and prove that they, just as the big data centers, can supply OCP equipment. And operate those. So we need to look into how to get access to the site. How do we actually get a module on there with a truck? Is there enough space for cranes? How are the foundations designed? How much load can they carry? What is the electrical supply to the site? Is there all the space for the, you just saw all the external factors, the cooling, the gensets and others, and how's the connectivity to the site on just, and also some other factors for this. And if you look into modular data centers, there are also other, modes of operation or modes of deployment. You see here the very special Rittal configuration where they stack modular data centers on top of each other, just like a rack. And there are lots of modules that are actually able to have at least second floor or second module on top of each other to save space. So height requirements, HPC, and different modes of operations should also be looked into and should be included in OCP Ready site certification. This is an example of an HPC module. So traditionally, you would, if we looked at the first module from PCX and Schneider, they had a 90 kilowatt specification, but it's relatively easy to go for the same floor space to 100, 200, or even 500 kilowatts. So we also need to consider drastically higher load densities within a module. This is an example of an HPC module that has still some air cooling on top, but also the possibility to cool 80% of the heat through a direct-to-chip design, which obviously enables the reuse of heat. This is something that if we want to create the most sustainable approach, it will be very important to look into reuses of heat and also to consider this as a positive factor on a OCP Ready site certification. So to get this in a summarized form, you still need to consider how to move an OCP rack through the modular data center, but also look into how to get a modular data center on the actual site, and is everything are all use cases possible and universal and flexible enough to fit different manufacturers and different modular data center designs that also have in mind HPC, big data, and 5G, and obviously also machine learning, all the buzzwords and workloads that are coming that should be included in basically edge workloads. So to look at some documents for this, there's the existing OCP site assessment from where we deviated the OCP Edge site assessment, which we are currently working on to create the necessary adjustments and adaptations to create a modular site requirement that then can be as the foundation to create the certification. Currently, this is the status on how this looks like. So we define the attributes and we create acceptable and optimal categories to include to prepare somebody who wants to deploy modules for acceptable and optimum requirements and still have the ability to be OCP ready. So this is then to get this closing. We need help to get this as universal and global as possible. Please help us and contribute and reach out if you want your module, your existing module, or further use cases included in this. We would like to have operators and modular designers and manufacturers, and we're asking for support at this very moment. There are monthly calls, there's the mailing list, there's the project wiki. Feel free to reach out and help us to get this in the beginning of next year ready. I personally will continue to work and contribute for this because we want to be one of the first modular OCP ready sites in Germany and Europe. Thanks so much.
Hey, Carl, thank you so much. We are scheduled for an open discussion right now. However, I don't see those speakers on the Zoom link yet. So there were a couple of questions that came in from the audience, if you don't mind sticking around to answer those.
Yeah, sure.
So the first question is from Raul from Submer. He's asking,
Yeah.
how is this Rital modular approach serviced? How do you enable access to those containers?
In terms of the Raul, is this? Are you referring to the access to the site, to the actual site, or how do we actually get into the module?
So Carl, without Raul being on the call, and Raul, you're more than welcome to hop on if you're listening. He's not going to be able to talk back. Let's go ahead and see if we can address his second question. I see that there's a peak design for a maximum of 300 kilowatt. How can we help on improving the density to go higher?
Yeah, there's actually within the modular data center sub-project on the monthly calls, this is the most and hottest discussed topic to open up the existing specification to get this increased. And the specification was put in last year, and now already most people in the group reacted and saw that there are use cases and the urgent need for higher densities, and we are currently also, the sub project is also currently reworking the specifications to enable those higher densities. But you're just hitting on a trend that we are already working on.
So Carl, Raul was actually able to join. Raul, can you clarify your earlier comment?
Yeah, hi everyone. I hope that you hear me correctly. Yeah, it was about how you can access and service the containers themselves, because I see that there's a challenge here if you stack some of them. So that was my question.
You mean in terms if we stack modules, how to access this those modules?
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually quite like the picture and had the same question as you had when I saw the example of Rital. I believe that they are actually for servicing. They have special lifting and crane equipment for larger operations to load to take out the module out of the the steel construction, and then do the service on the floor. But usually you will have some kind of stairs and steps to access the regular doors. If you don't have them in a steel construction, like just a cupboard, but if you put them directly on top of each other, then you usually have some scaffolding and stairs to access all modules.
Okay, so the idea is actually, if you want to service any kind of equipment that sits inside of the module, you have to remove the module from the scaffold from the structure, and then you have to service it.
So I think this is in the very unique case of the Ritter. This is the case, but in standard, you have the scaffolding and the stairs, and you just access the module, by itself.
Okay. Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Michael, for letting me join.
Absolutely, of course. So folks, the next 20 minutes are scheduled for open discussion. So the main topic is scheduled on open discussion for site preparation. But if you are interested in that topic or would like to hop on to the Zoom call, you can do that by clicking the Join Now button below the video player. If there is no one interested in open discussion, then we will wait until our next session, which will start at, sorry, apologies, which will start at 11:30 Pacific with Jason Hood taking us through water mitigation in data centers. But yeah, we'll hold tight for the next 20 minutes here.
Okay, I'm gonna stop share my screen for now,
Yep.
right?
Yes, thank you, Carl.
Thank you.